Simon gave a can of 8 treasure porridge to a beggar, and it led me to be reborn. In my previous life, Simon was bound to a system where he could swap my grades. For 8 treasure porridge, his scores skyrocketed, and before graduation, he was recruited by a famous university with special offers as a genius. Meanwhile, I, who was once recognized as a prodigy, became the worst student in school. In the end, I was pushed into the river by someone he hired and drowned. Now I'm reborn. Since he wants to swap grades, I'll let him swap until he's sick of it. During morning exercises, Simon placed a can of 8 treasure porridge in front of me. He looked at me with concern and urged me to drink it quickly. Before I could speak, the shrill mockery of my classmates echoed one after another. Without exception, they all praised Simon for being an excellent, kind-hearted student. When they mentioned me, they said I was lucky to even be in this school, and lucky to have an outstanding friend like him. Some classmates even slandered me openly for my falling grades. They even blamed me unfairly, believing that I alone had managed to lower the class average. Others complained that I didn't try hard enough to study. At that moment, Simon didn't defend me. Hearing those words, a flash of complacency gleamed in his eyes. He pushed the porridge into my hands and exaggerated. Ryan, it cost me a lot to buy this porridge for you. Don't just stand there, drink it while it's hot. Before, I would have been so grateful, thinking Simon was the friend who cared about me most. But after dying once, I know this so-called good friend has been using the system to swap my grades. He went from being an average guy and went from being average when he started to the popular, admired school genius. Even the simplest formulas wouldn't stick in his head, and he made constant mistakes solving problems. His ranking plummeted by year-end. I fell into deep insecurity, staying at school only because I hoped Simon hadn't successfully manipulated all my classmates behind my back. Everyone hated and isolated me. Now, I lift my head with a mocking smile and look at Simon. Simon, don't you hear them? They're advising me to study hard. I can't afford to lose face. Drinking this 8 treasure porridge wastes study time. I won't drink it, but we can't waste your kindness. Classmates, if you want to drink this, come and get it. As soon as I said this, many girls in class who loved Simon beamed with enthusiasm and came running over. Seeing this, Simon's face darkened instantly, and he shouted loudly, "No, this is for Ryan. It's for a student with low grades." A heavy-set boy pushed through the crowd, drooling and muttering that it couldn't be wasted. He tried to grab the 8 treasure porridge for breakfast, but Simon felt a lump in his throat. He knew this boy's grades were the worst in the entire grade, and his face turned red with anxiety. Every cell in his body resisted out of desperation. A bold idea flashed in my mind. Maybe this can of 8 treasure porridge would also work if someone else drank it. If the exchange system activated, then what? Simon suddenly feigned grievance, eyes reddening and voice turning sharp. "Ryan, you can refuse this 8 treasure porridge, but why trample on my sincerity? I bought this porridge for you to recover out of good intentions, but you just gave it away. Something I gave you. What a disappointment. How are you two any different? You're like the snake in the farmer's fable." The classmates who were fighting to grab the porridge instantly calmed down and looked at each other, unsure what to do. Finally, they unanimously and angrily pointed their fingers at me, demanding I apologize quickly to Simon, or they'd teach me a lesson. They all raised their fists, eager to try. At that moment, a line of student council members in uniform suddenly entered the hallway. The girl leading the line had long hair. Her name was Chloe. I recognized her immediately. She was the top student who led the rankings alongside me when we first started. Back then, she looked at me with admiration. Because my grades were unusual, it was her friend who told her to stay away later. That day, she waited for me a long time to exchange study methods. But Simon deliberately stopped me. Now, this girl I didn't like walked toward our class with the other members. With everyone's eyes on her, Chloe's voice was light like crushed ice. She announced a school-wide academic competition in 2 weeks. The winner gets a spot at a top university. Interested students can sign up. "Give me a registration form, please," Simon said, standing up immediately. He flashed his most handsome smile, approached Chloe generously, and leaned forward to make physical contact. Chloe smiled and instinctively stepped back 2 paces. Simon looked at her with innocent eyes, claiming he didn't understand the rules, and asked her to teach him personally. Chloe blushed for an instant under his gaze and nodded before leaving with her group. The classmates began a lively discussion. They say Chloe always takes first place in every exam. Whoever is with her will definitely see a drastic improvement in their grades. How exciting. They say her family is also incredibly rich. They drop her off in a Rolls Royce. She's a genius and the school beauty. She's not just every guy's dream, but a pure, genius-level girl. I really want to be with her and get into the same university. Simon, hearing this, arched his eyebrows with disdain. A moment ago, I saw her chase Simon to the door just to get his contact information. At that moment, Simon picked up an exercise book and flipped through it. Then he lowered his head and looked at his mock exam results. It seems his math score still isn't high enough, and he made mistakes in English reading comprehension too. "I must secure that spot so Simon will take the initiative to be with me," he muttered, then suddenly looked at me. The class bell rang at that moment. Simon focused his attention on me again. He insisted I drink that can of 8 treasure porridge, then ran back to his seat. I responded with a smile. Then I turned to look at a figure rummaging through a trash can outside the window. It was a homeless person with a strangely wise look in their eyes. Their mouth was twisted and they drooled frequently. Their face was covered in dark spots. This person had suffered a brain injury in a car accident. Everyone pitied them, but I realized there was nothing to be done. So they allowed the person to come to the school to collect useless household trash. I think they have an intellectual disability now and surely want to become smarter. So, after school, I found that homeless person and handed them the porridge and a piece of bread. They accepted them and began to swallow the food voraciously. I was about to turn and leave, but the homeless person stopped me. I turned around, and they pressed a handful of crumpled coins into my hand. "Little one, take this money. Thank you. Thank you so much." Giving me all the money they had, the person frantically searched their pockets and smiled at me. Something suddenly touched my heart. It had been a long time since anyone had expressed such kind gratitude to me. Without a word, I pulled out $200 and forced it into their hand. Then I sprinted away. Before I knew it, I had reached the kiosk behind the school. Suddenly, my mind felt much clearer than before. Formulas I couldn't remember earlier were now vivid in my mind. I pulled out my old notebook of mistakes and flipped through it. Unexpectedly, I discovered that the solutions to problems I couldn't grasp before were now instantly clear. I suppressed the joy in my heart and returned to the classroom as if nothing had happened. In the afternoon, I arrived early to the classroom and started studying. My biggest regret in my past life was not being able to participate in the academic competition, losing the chance to be admitted directly into a prestigious university. Suddenly, a shout echoed in the hallway. "Simon, what's going on? I just saw you arrive with Chloe. You were even studying together. You've only known each other since this morning." I have never seen her interact with boys just to study. Are they going to prepare for the competition together? Things are getting serious. My classmates think Simon and Chloe are the perfect couple. A popular brainiac and a genius beauty. A talent and a beauty very pleasing to the eye. I couldn't help but feel moved. Sure enough, Chloe only values people for their grades. Whether it was the Simon from before the grade swap or the current one, all she admires is excellent performance. Right now, Simon is full of pride, not even hiding his ambition. Does being popular even matter? This time, I am going to take first place in the academic competition. I am going to secure a direct admission spot. And I'm definitely going to win Chloe over completely. No, she should be the one confessing her love to me. A second later, Chloe ran toward me on purpose, her tone even more exaggerated than before. When you're young, you should win prizes in every competition. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. What's the point of just studying? Don't you understand that in this society, grades are king? I heard those words without flinching, focusing even harder on solving the problems. From that day on, Simon focused entirely on how to get closer to Chloe, and on preparing for the academic competition. He tried even more actively to use the system to trade away the little study talent and academic advantage I had left, still using the excuse that studying requires nourishing the brain. Every morning, he gave me 2 cans of 8 treasure porridge. My intellect returned, and my accuracy in solving problems also increased significantly. When my classmates asked me about it in surprise, I just lowered my head and said I had been dedicating myself to studying lately, staying late in the classroom to solve problems. This morning, after school, I went to a bookstore off campus. I was about to buy the latest competition workbook that had just hit the market. Suddenly, someone pushed me from behind, and I almost fell. Simon was standing next to Chloe, who looked at him fondly, but when she turned to me, her face showed clear disgust. Simon examined me thoroughly, wondering why I had been so absorbed in my studies lately. He immediately tried to snatch my workbook to see what I was studying. I quickly stepped back. He missed, his face tensing for a moment before he shouted my name, "Ryan. So you've suddenly started studying diligently lately. Seeing you solve problems every day, your grades must have improved, right? How are you studying? Share your experience." While discussing problems with Chloe, I've been concentrating too hard and my brain is overloaded. I'm even starting to make mistakes. I'm so worried. Simon is right. His accuracy in solving problems has decreased significantly. He's even starting to confuse basic concepts. It's just that Chloe might be blinded by her admiration for the top student and doesn't realize it. I played along and confirmed the fact that he was making mistakes while solving problems. I advised him to strengthen his foundation and use some wit. Then, I prepared to look elsewhere for the competition workbook. Suddenly, Chloe, who had been silent, spoke up. "Ryan, you mess with Simon in private, but now you dare embarrass him in public? You have no manners. Apologize now." As the student council president, she was known for her good temper. I was stunned. Me? Mess with him? Why would I apologize? It's all a misunderstanding. Simon and I are friends. He leaned affectionately on Chloe, and she embraced him. "Stop it, Ryan. You're just jealous that Simon's grades are better than yours, and that he's about to secure a guaranteed spot at the university. That's why you're using Nanshan's chemistry against her now. She is kind enough to share her study methods with you, but you reject her and even conspired with others to isolate her. How can your heart be so evil? Ugh, let's go. There's no point stooping to the level of this academic loser. You're far too kind. Ryan just has bad grades, and he has a bad reputation too." Sophie looked at me, and a look of deep disgust appeared in her eyes as well. As they were about to leave hand in hand, I finally reacted and blocked them ruthlessly. "How funny. You're mocking my grades, right, Sophie? I hope you always remember what you said today. I never envy anyone because I have enough self-confidence. I'm the best." Scattered laughter broke out around us, and in my excitement, I dropped my weekly exercise workbook. Students crowded around, whispering and pointing from the back of the line. They think I'm just being a patriot. The messy handwriting appears. The scribbles of a complete fool. The hallucinations of a madman. He actively flaunted that 30,000 yuan watch. He even flashed a sweet smile. This watch worth 30,000 yuan is nothing. Sophie and I eat at 5-star restaurants now. In this short time, the food we've eaten costs more than this watch. Oh, by the way, Sophie also said she'll give me a car soon. Hearing Sophie call Marcus by such an intimate name, the classmates flashed knowing looks, teasing Sophie and Marcus. They said something good is coming. In the future, they'll be a power couple, both recommended for top-tier universities. Someone gossiped and asked Sophie when she and Marcus would join the competition together. He looked at the speaker with contempt, smiling without saying a word. Marcus specifically handed out desserts to everyone, but he skipped right over me. I know he's trying to embarrass me on purpose, but I don't care at all. The results for last week's mock competition exam are about to be posted. Right now, I'm more worried about what rank I'll get after all this effort. Those desserts? I'll be able to buy them myself in the future. When evening study hall arrived, the class president, Kevin, came running in. The results are out. In a bit, the student council will post them outside. This mock exam was full of difficult competition questions. I failed so many things. I'm not even sure I can make the cut. I don't have the face to be class president anymore. The class president had always taken first place. Now he can't help but grab his head and collapse into his seat, weeping bitterly. Everyone was terrified. The classmates close to him tried to comfort him. Everyone thinks that since even the class president failed this time, then no one in the entire class will make it to the competition finals. The tutor is going to be furious. However, the class president lifted his head through his sobs to tell everyone, no, there's a dark horse this time. In our class, a few minutes later, when they posted the chart on the wall, he stared at it fixedly for a long time. After the crowd cleared, my classmates couldn't resist any longer and ran out to check their rankings. To everyone's absolute shock, my name was at the very top of the list. In the overall grade rankings, I was also number 1. Second place was Marcus. Before this, he had always been the top student in the grade. The rankings had flipped. I was the new leader, and he was just the runner-up. This afternoon, after giving the porridge to the homeless man, I went back to the dorm to sleep. I waited for the alarm to go off and opened my eyes, feeling dazed. I grabbed a random practice exam to study. The next second, I discovered with excitement that my focus had completely recovered. I had a sharp mind and a photographic memory. My speed and accuracy in solving problems were even better than before. My heart was racing, tapping. With my fingers, I opened my phone and completed the registration form for the academic finals. Today is the final day to sign up. Sophie, I'm going to watch you get crushed at the moment you least expect. That afternoon, the second I walked into the classroom, I felt my classmates' gazes were strange. As soon as I sat down, 2 unpleasant voices sounded behind me, talking about how wicked my heart was. I didn't understand why. Suddenly, someone threw a phone in my face. It turns out that at noon, someone posted a video on the campus forum that had already spread through the whole school. It was the scene where Marcus was protecting Sophie and arguing with me, along with an ugly photo of my face looking fierce. The caption read, "Exposed." I'm laughing at how the former top student, Ryan, has always been jealous of his friend, not only making malicious and insulting comments over and over again, but also repeatedly creating misunderstandings so his friend would always be encouraged, knowing that his friend is with the school goddess. Yet he still interferes, causing even the school goddess to get angry because of him. In a moment, a storm broke out with hundreds of comments below. They were all insults toward me. Who is Ryan? I don't know, but I know Marcus, and his temperament is famous for being good. It's scary to be friends with this kind of person. Although I heard Marcus already likes someone, my heart is broken, but I want even less to see people who can't stand the success of others. Isn't that Ryan from our class? How terrible. Doesn't he realize what kind of person he is? How disgusting. After reading all this without flinching, I stood up, took out my phone, and called the police to report the defamation. Let the law clear my name. Marcus, the instigator, was obviously nervous this afternoon. I don't know why, but he's also been distracted the whole time, even making mistakes on simple problems, and the teachers of every subject are scolding him nonstop. This storm gradually calmed down when the head teacher came to stop me from calling the police. After class, I saw this post. The police's voice told me not to do that. Their website, Beethoven in the US, because I was looking for him. I know I missed having expressions. I adapt to the noise. Being financial of the class, corrected from now on with a. Then we, let's go for one, are on the list. To me, don't me, with the quote in this text, seem to identify. So at this moment it has fallen. Why the devices, at night, to replace? Just tell me, I'll go with you, I'll be with you. These comforting words from Marcus, and moved all the classmates. But Marcus lowered his head in a panic. He lamented that I had been lately ignoring him. Then he covered his head, saying that it hurt, and ran out of the classroom. But the classmates thought he had been wronged and didn't want to reveal my filthiness. So they stood up one after another to support Marcus, demanding justice and ordering me to apologize to him, while Marcus took advantage of the confusion to escape. Shortly after, the final of the academic competition was held as planned. The exam venue was in the school's multifunctional assembly hall. When they saw me enter, everyone looked at me with contempt and muttered that I should withdraw as soon as possible. This is the competition final, not a selection of scholars. Ryan, get out of here fast. What is he doing? We're all here for the grand prize. They said he barely passed the qualifiers, that there was nothing to be done with him, and he had no chance. Let's not waste time. I vote for Marcus to win first place. He's the scholar who deserves it in my mind. By the way, where's Marcus? Why isn't he here? He must be studying in the dorm. Is there anyone from his dorm who can go take a look? Look, that guy being helped to walk by two boys is Marcus. I remember seeing him in those clothes before. Back then, he even bragged to us that Ryan had bought them for him, that they cost about 50,000 units. While I was on stage listening to the noise of the three memories of the police, Marcus was being dragged by force by his two well-intentioned roommates. Half an hour ago, they saw Marcus sleeping soundly in the dorm, thinking he was too tired from studying and had forgotten the time. Regardless of his resistance, they brought him to the multifunctional assembly hall to participate in the competition. Marcus resisted constantly, but he couldn't overcome the combined strength of the two and was forced to sit down. In his exam seat, Marcus's two roommates left calmly, and Marcus also wanted to follow them, but the exam supervisor stopped him. In an instant, all eyes fell directly on him, exposing his shameful posture without reservation. Marcus could only muster the courage to pick up the pen, but faced with the basic questions of the competition, he couldn't even start writing. The scratch paper was blank. Even the simplest formula was written incorrectly, and the students below were stunned. The whispers were as if someone pressed the pause button, and then they suddenly exploded. At this moment, his face was full of panic and blood. Marcus had nowhere to hide. His mind, which was usually clear, became a chaotic mess. Even the most basic concepts got jumbled, and the pen in his hand was gripped so hard his knuckles turned white. His usual image as a confident scholar and school heartthrob was completely gone. His legs gave out, and he collapsed into a crouch on the floor. He squeezed his head tight with both hands and screamed at the top of his lungs. The comments from the crowd were biting, and phone shutters clicked continuously. Every eye was on Marcus, filled with surprise, contempt, and curiosity, but zero compassion. At that moment, I picked up the competition exam on the table and began to answer the questions. The tip of my pen glided quickly across the paper with clear and fluid thoughts. Every step to solve each problem was neat and standardized. It was so precise that the surrounding noise faded. I only looked coldly at Marcus, who was crouching on the floor, falling apart. At the same time, Sarah stood in the back, staring at my fluid way of solving the problems in disbelief. She stiffly approached Marcus, wanting to ask something several times, but in the end, she said nothing. Right then, Marcus suddenly bolted upright. With disheveled hair and bloodshot eyes, his already confused mind became even worse due to the intense emotional fluctuation. His venomous gaze locked onto me like a beast, cornered at the edge of an abyss. You think you've won, Ryan? You won using dirty tricks. Your grades are stolen. Marcus screamed hysterically. Instantly, his voice drowned out the surrounding discussions. Before I could speak, he acted like a madman and pulled out his phone. He connected it to the big screen to project several photos one by one, showing that the student had been caught in various places, from the printing room to the faculty lounge, looking suspicious. He tried to shift the responsibility many times, claiming I was the one who stole the permanent codes. The people around us watched the footage, trying to conclude if I was the one in the video. Marcus pointed at the screen with a trembling finger. The school portals were already buzzing with hate, questioning who the real thief was. In the first photo, the boy wore the clothes I usually wear, head down, sneaking into the school print shop. And the boy in the other photo is also wearing the same clothes, this time entering the student dorms. When he came out, he had a pile of documents in his hand. Marcus knows my habits perfectly. He even knew which competition problem sets I have to review every single day. This is the proof that he stole my collection of problems and hid my documents. My classmates were stunned and began to mutter among themselves. Voices of doubt resonated through the room instantly. The situation that originally favored me began to waver once again. At that moment, the head judge, Mr. Yen, frowned deeply. His gaze toward me was filled with hesitation and confusion. Without rushing, smiling, I walked right up to Marcus. Standing by his side, I told all the classmates and judges to look closely at the screen. This photo has a timestamp. It was taken last Wednesday at 3 p.m. And that afternoon, I was in the tutor's office requesting a permission slip because I had a fever the day before. My tutor is in the office building right now, and I can ask him to confirm it at any moment. Besides, I haven't been to either of those two places. I suspect this photo has been retouched with Photoshop. You're lying. You just can't prove your innocence. You just say it's Photoshop. Then I say it was AI generated. So you admit it? You synthesized these photos yourself using AI. Stop slandering me, as this matter is not yet resolved. Then why don't we leave it in the hands of the police? I'm calling the police. I'll call the police right now and ask professional technicians to help me authenticate these photos to determine whether or not they are synthesized. I won't say another word. I pulled out my phone directly and called the police. Marcus tried to flee, but he was stopped by student council members maintaining order. The police arrived quickly. They brought technicians to perform a demonstration on the spot. Captain, regarding those photos Marcus provided. These photos are certainly a montage. None are real. Ryan, how do you want this handled? What? If you don't accept mediation, Marcus will be dealt with according to the law. After all, he damaged my reputation in public. I can't tolerate that. Marcus opened his eyes in terror. Seeing my resolve, he realized asking me for help was useless, so he turned his eyes toward Sarah. He went crying to grab her arm, begging her bitterly to save him. Sarah, didn't you say you'd love me forever? Do you have the heart to watch me be bullied now? Save me, quickly. Don't you want to go to a top university with me in the future? My life can't end like this. With a stain like this on my record, the Zen family has many resources. Talk to them quickly. Let me go this once. Everything has a price, but you'll be detained and fined. There's no escape. Sarah, looking troubled, pulled her hand away from Marcus with a look of disgust. I watched with my own eyes as the police took him away for investigation. Before getting into the police car, Marcus still threatened me harshly, saying he wouldn't leave me alone. Afterward, the finals of the competition continued. The professor took the microphone and announced with extreme seriousness, as everyone can see. The student Marcus maliciously forged evidence and slandered others with atrocious conduct. This violates the basic principles of the competition, so his right to participate is formally revoked. In my opinion, Ryan is the one who truly deserves to meet our expectations. Marcus still wants to win first place in the competition. I think that's clearly a joke. I've always thought Ryan was great. First place will definitely be his. The finals ended successfully, and I won. And I managed to secure a guaranteed spot at a prestigious university. The news of Marcus being disqualified exploded at school, becoming the main topic of conversation for everyone. Marcus's reputation was completely ruined after he was released. He could feel the looks of contempt and the whispers of the people around him everywhere. The lackeys who used to surround him also distanced themselves from him. But I know he won't give up just like that. The current me and Marcus are in sharp contrast, as I have become the complete center of attention at school. The school teachers won't stop praising me. Many classmates approach me now to discuss study problems. Even a senior student sent me a valuable question bank for the competition. That day I left school as usual, but just as I stepped out of the building, Sarah stopped me. She appeared in a clean white dress, regret written all over her face. Ryan, I'm sorry. I had some misunderstandings about you. Don't worry, I'm done with Marcus now. Sarah, whether you have a relationship with him or not is your business. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not curious. You were on his side before, fueling his arrogance. I remember everything clearly. Don't worry, I'll keep it all in mind. After saying that, I turned around to leave. But behind me, Sarah shouted, Ryan, I like you. Can I try to win you over? Before I could even answer, a sharp voice suddenly rang out in the distance, and then Marcus charged towards Sarah and me at a full sprint, looking at Sarah with bloodshot eyes, begging her not to break up with him. But Sarah looked at Marcus with pure disgust, as if he were useless. She didn't want to be dragged down anymore. I took advantage of their confrontation and turned to walk away. But I hadn't walked far when I saw Marcus walking toward his residence at a normal pace. What I didn't expect was that just as I reached the door of my own residence, a basin of dirty water fell from the sky, splashing me mercilessly. My clothes were completely soaked. The filthy water ran down my hair, dripping onto the ground. The cold spread instantly through my entire body. At that moment, Marcus was leaning out of the dormitory window with a malicious smile on his face. He deliberately raised his voice, making sure it was loud enough for everyone to hear. The classmates passing by could hear him clearly as he offered me a fake apology. Ryan, I'm so sorry. I accidentally slipped and dropped the bucket. But it doesn't matter, right? You have great grades now. Even if you get dirty, it won't affect your studies. Unlike me, my brain has gone stupid. I can't learn anything anymore. I'm not popular anymore. Now everything I do is wrong. His tone was dripping with sarcasm, deliberately pretending to be the victim. He was trying to create the false impression that I was bullying him just because of my grades. Several students passing by stopped out of curiosity, waiting to see how I would handle the situation. I let out a cold laugh and wiped the water from my face. I looked up at Marcus and said, You slipped? Why don't you come down and face me? Or have you forgotten that the security camera outside the dorm points right at where you're standing? The footage of you pushing that bucket was caught clearly. Stop trying to frame innocent people. The security cameras are already broken, he shouted back. Who knows if you stood there on purpose just to get hit and play the victim? Whether the cameras are broken or not isn't for you to decide. We can go check right now. The security guard will review the footage in front of everyone to see if it was really an accident. Marcus panicked completely. Panicking now, are we? When he pushed that bucket, he hadn't thought about the cameras at all. Now that I exposed him in front of everyone, he didn't know how to argue back. He just gripped the windowsill tightly. His eyes filled with panic and fear in that very moment. The security guard approached quickly with a tablet in his hand, a serious expression on his face. He stood right in front of me. He looked up at Marcus on the floor above and spoke in a loud voice. Student upstairs, we just saw through the security cameras that you pushed the water bucket on purpose to hit someone. The cameras recorded everything. This is very dangerous behavior. Come down immediately. Follow me to the security office for an investigation. As he said that, the security guard held up the tablet. The screen clearly showed the image of Marcus intentionally pushing the bucket of water. Marcus, standing by the window, felt completely helpless. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. He saw the contemptuous looks from his classmates and knew he had lost again. But the resentment in his eyes grew even more intense. He secretly swore to make me pay. I watched Marcus being led away by the security guard without feeling the slightest bit of pity. Then I turned around and went into the dormitory. I put on clean clothes. Marcus had suffered repeated setbacks, so he began to frantically investigate the system. Finally, he forced the system to reveal a new function. If the host's performance continues to decline, the energy will be insufficient. It is necessary to find a new energy target. If you make him drink a special energy-infused porridge, you can steal his academic talent and achievements to recover your own status. Excellent. The system is still useful. I still have hope. Now the most important thing was to find a suitable new target. So Marcus set his sights on the second best student in the competition. And that student happened to be my roommate. Justin, there are some things I've been keeping in my heart for a long time. I don't know if I should say it or not. Justin is a simple guy, introverted with few friends at school. Marcus used this as his entry point. At that moment, Justin didn't suspect a thing. Nodding to Marcus, he let him continue. Actually, you don't know this, Marcus said. I've noticed you since the very first day of classes. After all, your grades are so good that it's hard not to notice you. I wanted to be your friend back then, but Ryan found me first and wanted to be my friend. That's why I lost the chance to build a friendship with you. I'm just standing up for what's right. You won't be like the others, judging me by my grades, right? Looking down on me. How could I? I'm not that kind of person. Even though I also participated in the competition, I didn't want to draw attention to myself. It was my bunkmate who signed me up. I can see you're an honest person. Is it still in time for us to be friends? Justin nodded and agreed with a smile. Marcus succeeded in his approach, suppressing the pride and excitement in his eyes as he continued his plan. Then he let out a deep sigh, prompting Justin to ask him what was wrong. Inside, I thought, I didn't really want to say it. After all, everyone knows by now that I've had a falling out with Ryan. It was all a misunderstanding, and I want to save our friendship, but I need your help. It's a lucky coincidence that you're his roommate. Actually, I shouldn't say much in front of you. Are you looking for my help with something? Justin asked. Just say it, as long as it's not too much. Justin, you're very smart. I want to be your friend, but I also need a favor. Marcus suddenly pulled 2 cans of 8 treasure porridge from his pocket. Justin asked what he intended to do with them. Marcus pretended to look shy and embarrassed. This is Ryan's favorite 8 treasure porridge. When we were friends before, I used to buy it for him all the time. Our classmates saw it with their own eyes. When I saw this porridge today, I thought of him and bought it. Please, give 1 can to him for me. As for the other can, it's my gift to you for helping me. Give it a try. Justin didn't say anything, just looked Marcus over a few more times. Marcus quickly added, we aren't friends right now, so just say you wanted to give it to him. Don't mention me. If he hears that I bought it, he definitely won't accept it. Justin didn't know anything about the special 8 treasure porridge. Besides, he's a kind-hearted guy, and seeing Marcus pleading with teary eyes, he finally agreed. Marcus's plan was halfway to success, and he could barely hide the satisfaction gleaming in his eyes. After that, he exchanged a few pleasantries with Justin and left with an excuse. Justin, I passed by the laundry room just now and saw a bright garment inside. It looks a lot like the one you lost. It was just washed and still wet, so I didn't touch it. Go see if it's yours. Justin looked surprised and thanked me. He got up and headed straight for the laundry room. A few minutes later, he walked back into the dorm with a slight frown on his face. Obviously, he didn't find the clothes I mentioned. I claimed I must have been mistaken, and he didn't say much else. He looked at the 8 treasure porridge on his desk and handed me a can. This is for you. I didn't say a word, nor did I reach out to take the can of porridge. I just stared at Justin until, under my gaze, he confessed automatically. So the other can of porridge on your desk was also given to you by him? Yes, I haven't touched it yet. I heard you really like drinking this 8 treasure porridge. I'll give you one too. No need. Justin, I advise you to check the production date on that. Marcus is greedy for small gains. He always buys products that are nearly expired, and then who knows how long he keeps them before giving them to me. I used to drink it because we were friends, but I always ended up with diarrhea. I suffered a lot hearing this. Justin quickly went to check the 2 cans of 8 treasure porridge in his hand and discovered that they had indeed expired several days ago. He doesn't know that this is actually what I secretly swapped out while he was going to the laundry room. Justin, thanks for being willing to tell the truth. You're too naive. It's easy to be used by people with hidden motives. I hinted at it and said no more, and Justin showed an expression of understanding. The next night, Marcus dragged me to the small woods with a face full of rage. I had already guessed it. It must be because Justin refused to keep treating him. Ryan, it's you again playing tricks behind my back, isn't it? You ruin my plans over and over. You're really too evil. Speaking of evil, naturally, I'm not even a 10,000th as evil as you. Marcus, stop pretending. I already know about your system. We should speak clearly. When did you find out the secret of the system? Why have I become like this? This is all your fault. From the moment you attacked me, you should have foreseen that you would reach this day. No, I don't accept this. I was about to be admitted to a prestigious university with Sarah. Why did this mistake happen? I was about to win first place in the competition. I could have been specially recruited by a renowned university. I was going to reach the peak of my life. Ryan, why did you break all of this suddenly? Are you doing it on purpose so things don't go well for me? Do you want to take everything I have? You're jealous. I don't want to take anything from you. This doesn't belong to you. You're crazy now. Marcus heard my words and suddenly smiled sinisterly. You're right. I am crazy. Anyway, having reached this point, I've been pushed to the edge and I've lost everything. I remember that river at school. Every year, people accidentally fall in and die. Ryan, how long do you think it will take for the current to sweep your body away if I throw you in tonight? As soon as. He finished speaking. Several thugs with dyed hair suddenly appeared. From behind him, they closed in on me. Marcus's eyes were practically spitting fire. I just smiled. I held up my phone. The screen showed an active call to 911. Fortunately, the police arrived just in time. Marcus and his group were fitted with silver handcuffs. I heard that later, during the interrogation. He kept talking about systems and things like that, so they sent him for a psych eval and straight to a mental hospital. Not long after, news came from the psychiatric hospital saying that Marcus was lucid. He was constantly screaming that he wanted to see me. The next morning, I took a taxi to the psychiatric hospital. I wanted to see Marcus's miserable state with my own eyes. The visiting area of the mental hospital was depressing. The smell of disinfectant stung my nose. I had barely sat down in the chair when Marcus suddenly snapped his head up. He was wearing a faded, wrinkled blue and white patient uniform. His hair was a mess, matted against his forehead. When he saw me enter, he got excited, stumbled, and lunged at the glass, pressing his hands firmly against the cold pane. Pale as a ghost, he screamed my name. His voice was hoarse and pleading. He was clinging to his last hope. I just watched him in silence, without saying a single word. Seeing that I didn't respond, Marcus grew so anxious that his eyes turned bloodshot and his forehead almost touched the glass. The plea in his tone deepened. Ryan, I know I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. I was confused before. I was under a spell. I shouldn't have stolen your life or your grades. I shouldn't have hurt you. Please, can you forgive me? Marcus's voice was full of sobs, completely different from his arrogant self at school, like a child on the verge of collapse. Do me a favor. Go find Sophie, okay? Go and tell her I know I was wrong, that I'll never ask for favors again. I won't crave those empty titles anymore. I just want her to get me out of here. Her family has money and power. She must have a way. She likes you so much. She used to listen to everything you said. Go beg her. I'm sure she'll agree. I don't want to be here. This is no place for people. Everyone is so strange. I'm going crazy. Ryan, I beg you for the sake of our old friendship. Save me, your friend Marcus. When exactly did you consider me a friend? Since you used the system to bind me? Since you stole my grades with that bowl of porridge? Since you conspired with my classmates to isolate me? Watching me go from being a genius to a failure? Or since you found someone in my past life to harm me? My words were a sword that cruelly pierced his disguise, demolishing it. He recoiled sharply. He stared at me. His once refined voice suddenly rose with a touch of hysteria. It's your fault. It's all your fault I've become this. It's all your fault, Ryan. If you weren't so ungrateful, if you hadn't accepted my porridge, how could my system have been deactivated? How else would I have gone from a genius loved by everyone to what I am now? If you hadn't surpassed me in everything, if you hadn't constantly challenged me, how was I supposed to make you my target? The more Marcus spoke, the more agitated he became. His chest heaved violently. He looked like a raving madman. And it's all because you played hard to get in front of him. If you hadn't shown off on purpose, how would he have realized who I am? How would he have ignored me? You destroyed everything I had. You ruined my future. You turned me into a lunatic. You're a curse. You bring me bad luck. He slammed against the glass again. He struck his forehead hard against it, making a dull thud, but he didn't seem to feel the pain. He just screamed in anger with bloodshot eyes. I could have had everything. The top university, a bright future, and Sophie too. All of it was mine. It's you. You snatched it all from me. I hate you. Ryan, I hate you. If it weren't for you, how would I have ended up like this? Even if I die, I won't let you get away. Everything you've lost. It's not my fault. It's your own greed, your hypocrisy, your lack of scruples. You destroyed yourself. It has nothing to do with anyone else. But even now, you still don't repent. I have nothing left to say to you. And don't ask anyone to pass messages to me. Sophie won't come to save you, because she realized who you really are a long time ago. My words were the final straw that broke the camel's back, shattering his last bit of sanity. He pounded on the glass frantically. He screamed and cursed, his voice filled with despair and resentment, until the nurses who heard the noise came running. They held him down firmly. He resisted, kicking and punching. His eyes remained fixed on me, staring like poisoned knives, repeatedly muttering under his breath, Ryan, I won't let you get away. I'll kill you. The nurses dragged him away with difficulty. His screams gradually faded, and the visiting area fell silent once again. His handprints were still smeared on the glass. I turned around and walked away. I stepped out of the asylum, and the sun shone down on me, warm and dazzling. At the distant bus stop, a homeless man sat under the shade of a tree. As soon as he saw me, he smiled immediately, flashing a simple, innocent grin. He was still holding the bread I had given him last time. Compared to before, he looked much better. At least he wasn't drooling anymore. After that day, I moved away from the city for good. I started a new life where no one could bother me. I never saw Marcus again.